Welcome to Real Estate Radio LA. I'm your host, Gil.Azcarate, the hostess with the mostest, the host that gives you and gets you the most for your real estate. Real Estate Radio LA is dedicated to real estate right here in Los Angeles, in La La Land, in Crazy Town. We are here talking real estate, most people's favorite topic. When you go to a party, they want to tell you about the house that they bought low, sold high. They want to tell you about the one that got away, which cracks me up. That's like almost being pregnant. You almost bought it. Who cares? You didn't. It's almost like not a compliment to yourself. But they always want to talk about the house that got away. You know, if I had $1 for every house that got away, I'd be a rich man. So Real Estate Radio LA is dedicated to real estate right here in Los Angeles with these interest rates and all the political climate and all the smash and grabs and all the homelessness. So we try to dedicate ourselves to what's going on right here, right now, and not talking generalities, but talk about what's going on today. So first of all, my DRE number is 0129-8646. This show is for entertainment and information purposes only and is not intended to give you legal or business advice. So please consult your qualified professional regarding your particular situation. All right. What's my topic today? The market's changing. I've talked about that, and we're going to talk about that maybe in my next show. But why do I say the market is changing? Because there's a lot of indicators, and JJ helped me the other day. I kept on saying indicators, and at the end of the show, he says, "Hey, Gil, why not red flags?" I go, "Yeah, why didn't you tell me before the end of the show?" So we did red flags. So what were the red flags that's telling us that the market is changing, it's shifting, it's not going up, it's not hyperinflated? Why do we know that? Because bankruptcies are up right now. That's actually one of those things that we look at. Bankruptcies are up right now. People are not making their credit card payments, and then later on it's going to turn into their car payments, and later on it's going to turn into their house payments, and then foreclosure. So bankruptcies are up. Rite Aid is closing 500 stores. Walmart is reducing their pay. Retail sales are flat. Foot Locker, Dollar General, Nike, and Target stocks are all way down. So I always say how the stock market goes the real estate market, right? So these are all red flags. So what happens if your house doesn't sell, or if you're thinking about selling your house? But again, if you tried to sell it the last 90 days and for some reason it didn't sell, your real estate agent, you weren't in agreement. He wanted to give another price. You wanted to give another price. You didn't feel he did enough marketing, enough open houses, all this stuff. At the end of the day, it didn't sell in a very good market. Please call me. If you are listed right now, this is not a solicitation for your listing. I can't do that. You are under contract. But if you're thinking about selling or tried to sell and couldn't sell, then please call me and we can put a plan together. And you're going to see what I call creative marketing. A creative solution, things that other people aren't doing. Because right now, the inventory is going to start creeping up. A lot of people say, oh, you know what, there's no inventory, so prices are continuing to go up. In fact, NBC said that the other day. But that is a national generality. Prices are going down. They have to go down because they're hyperinflated and the interest rates are above 7. So why do I call this show creative marketing or creative real estate? Let's just throw a couple of them out there and see if we can learn something. You need to be creative. You need to do something different. I like lease with an option to buy. I've always talked about this. This is a very unique selling strategy. Selling, you say lease with the option to buy. In a nutshell, you guys agree on a price. The buyer isn't ready to buy for maybe the next couple years. Maybe it's a divorce. Maybe his credit isn't quite there. Maybe he doesn't have his down payment. So he needs a couple years to buy, but loves your house, wants to rent it, but also wants to own it. You, for some reason, seller, are not ready to sell, and you want to wait a couple years for whatever reason. Capital gains, it was an inheritance, whatever the reason, you say, you know what, I'd prefer to get that lump sum of money 2 years from now as opposed to today. But you realize, like I do, that prices are high right now. So you want to get today's price locked in. So let's say buyer and seller agree to $1 million. Not for today, but to close in 2 years. A lease with an option to buy has a safety net for the seller. So if prices go down to $900,000, the buyer tenant has to pay $1 million. Understand that? But if prices go up to $1.1 million, you have to sell your house for $1 million. So the price is locked in. What's in it for you, the seller landlord? Instead of getting, let's say, $6,000 a month for rent, the tenant is going to pay you $8,000 a month for rent. What? Yeah. $8,000 a month for rent. Now you've got cash flow and 2 years to plan your sale, your retirement, whatever that is. That $2,000 extra a month goes into a savings plan for the buyer. So when the buyer buys it, you have to give that $48,000 back to the buyer. If the buyer doesn't buy your house, you get to keep that money. Got it? I'm making it really, really simple. So there's a lot in it for the buyer. There's a lot in it for the seller. There's safety nets in for both. What's the safety net for the buyer? Let's say you agree on $1 million, and for some reason, the market crashes and the house is worth $800,000 in 2 years. The buyer gets to say, I'm walking away. I'll lose my deposit and I'll lose my forced savings of this $2,000 every month, but I'd rather do that than buy a house $200,000 under market value. He can walk, right? You also have a seller, you have some safety nets, but you also, again, if it goes up to $1.1 million, you've agreed to sell it for $1 million. Okay, so that's lease with an option to buy. There's a lot of moving parts. The house has to fit, the buyer has to fit, the seller has to fit. There's a lot of moving parts. The sad part, I don't get paid for 2 years. That's why real estate agents don't push it. Hello, I will get paid for finding the tenant for 2 years and organizing all this stuff. So there's not a lot of money in leasing, but I will manage it for you and I will do that for you and hopefully get paid in 2 years and it all works out. Okay? So that's the lease with an option buy. That is something that's very unique and a lot of people don't do. That's one down. Your HOA is too high. You've got this great townhouse. Everybody loves it, but the HOA is $750. And everybody walks in and goes, wow, interest rates are high. Your price is high. And the HOA is high. So they walk in, they walk out, they walk in, they walk out, you can't sell it. So get creative and you tell the buyer, how about if I pay your HOA for 2 years? It's all math. It's either reduce the price, pay their HOA, then you do it on a monthly basis, you pay half of their HOA. Something creative where the buyer goes, what? Wow, that's interesting. Now they're banking on for the next 2 years, you pay their homeowners association or half of their homeowners association, and then they're banking on the next 2 years, interest rates go down. They bought some time, their payment goes down, everybody's happy, you sold your townhouse or condo in a homeowners association. So a lot of times if you've got 10 units that are all about the same, you need to do something to stand out, and that is creative on the HOA problem that you may or may not have. Okay, what else do we got? You either fix it now or get ready to negotiate later. Go in and fix the house. A lot of people say, if I had the money, I would have fixed it. Great, I will let you borrow it, or there's another company that will fix your house and you don't have to pay them till you close escrow. If you are thinking about selling, whatever the problem is, we have a solution. Get creative. Sometimes you need to really fix up your house. Curb appeal. You've done a beautiful job in the inside, but the curb appeal is not working. And a lot of times, if your next door neighbor is just a mess, that's an issue. That is a big issue. A lot of people will not buy that. You know what you do? You go tell your neighbor, can I fix your lawn for you? Can I literally have my gardener come in and cut your grass and do some weeding and maybe plant some flowers? I will do that on my dime. That's what I would do. And you'd be shocked how many sellers or how many neighbors say no. They're insulted by it. Even though you're doing it, you're saying, hey, my house isn't selling because of your house, right? I'm not going to paint it. But maybe you just go in and you clean it up and you just do it in a good, loving way. Maybe they say yes and you've done a good deed. You never know what their situation is. A lot of times maybe it's a landlord and the tenant says, yeah, I'd love to do it. The landlord doesn't pay for it. So maybe it's worth you doing it, okay? That's a little tidbit. Lowering the price up front as opposed to lowering the price later. Again, I've done this for 25 years. I've heard it all. And you know what I've heard too many times? Let's see what happens. We know what happens when you overprice a property in a non-hyper market. We know what happens. Nothing. People come in and go out, or they don't even come in. So if you're saying, you know what, let's put it at $1.5 million, when I'm saying it's worth $1.3 million, I would tell you it's smarter to put it at $1.3 million and bid it up. That is the strategy. Don't put it high and then you're chasing down the market and then you say, okay, I'll go to $1.4 million. And then the holidays come and then again, you're chasing down the market. Do it now. The house should sell in the first 3-4 weeks. You should be in escrow. Okay? That is the true test. If you are in the market 60, 90 days, buyers see blood in the water and they come in and they start lowballing you. So that's not where you want to be. You want to be in a position of strength with multiple offers. And these are ideas to help you create that. If it doesn't sell right away, if you don't sell your house in October, you might as well just take it off the market and put it back on the market in February, right? After the holidays. Daylight savings is coming. Daylight savings is coming. The market slows right when it starts getting dark at 5 o'clock, right? You get off of work. Usually you go see houses after work. You can't during the week. So that means only buyers are showing up on weekends. All right. So that's another tidbit. And then there's something called value range marketing, which is basically what I was just talking about. If I have a seller who says, man, I really want to do $1.5 million, Gil, I'm not going to list a house at, if it's under $1.5 million, but my bottom number is $1.4 million. I want a little wiggle room, right? Heard that a lot of times. Wiggle room. Okay. Why don't we do this? Why don't we value range marketing? Instead of one number, picking a number, 1.5, which is too high, 1.4, which is probably where it's going to be, 1.3, it's too low. You do a range. Seller will entertain and respond to all offers between 1.3 and 1.5. Interesting, right? Different. Your neighbors are all at one whatever, and you've got this value range marketing. You wouldn't believe how many people call me up and just say, whoa. What is that? Buyers call me up. Agents call me up. What are you talking about? What is that? It's a range. And the seller will say, Gil, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to sell it for 1.3. That's what usually happens because everybody's going to come in at the low number. That makes sense, right? So after the break, I will tell you the response to that. So Gil.Azcarate, Real Estate Radio LA. Go to realestateradiola.com. Text me. Let's be friends on Facebook, and we'll be back right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Gil.Azcarate, Real Estate Radio LA. Did I say that I have talent on loan from God? Because everybody's talent is on loan from God. So I hope Rush doesn't get upset with me for using that. I hope it's not a trademark. If there is, I am sorry. Please don't sue me. But I think Rush would agree with most of the things I say.
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you know Rush?
Not personally.
Then how would you know? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I didn't know Rush either. I didn't have the pleasure, but it would have been a pleasure to meet him. But here we go. So value range marketing. Seller will entertain and respond to all offers between 1.3 and 1.5, right? We all know that everybody's going to come in at 1.3. That is the hook. That is the creative marketing. That is what we want. We want people to come in at 1.3. But now we got 10 people on the hook. You pull too hard, you lose them, just like fishing. 5 of them are great. The other 5 are a bunch of people that come in at 1.1, 1.2. That's going to happen no matter what. So what you do is you pin them all against each other and say, I've got 10 offers. And now you start creeping that up to that 1.4 number. But that is what you do when you get all the offers at once. Now you are in a position of strength, and I call it a cocky counter. A cocky counter offer. You can be cocky when you have 10 offers. You cannot be cocky when you have no offers. You cannot be cocky with 1 offer, even 2, even 3, because 1 can be bad, 1 can be worse, and 1 can be okay. You pull too hard, now you have 0 offers, okay? And there's no backup. So when you have 10 offers and 5 are good, now you start seeing who is willing to fight for your house. If fair market value is 1.4, now we're going to creep that number up and we're going to get closer to that 1.4. You do not have to sell your house at 1.3. That's what I tell the seller. It is just a marketing tool. Okay? They come in, they see it, they love it, they respond. Now we've got them. Now they're on the hook, and now we're going to get that money up. But we're not going to force you to sell your house at 1.3. Okay? But I will get you top dollar. If it happens to be 1.350 and nobody's willing to go, that is what your house is worth. Your house is worth what somebody is willing to pay for it, not what you think it's worth. Okay? Not what an appraiser thinks it's worth. Not what your brother-in-law thinks it's worth. Not what your neighbor thinks it's worth. It's what the market says it's worth, and somebody is willing to pay. Okay? What else? I like this one, and I help you with this, is we have a huge garage sale with all your neighbors. You got to get rid of a bunch of your stuff. You don't want to move it. You're going to do it after you sell. Why don't you do it before you sell? And we get all your neighbors to have this huge community garage sale, 10, 15 neighbors. Imagine how many people would show up. And we have an open house at the same time. So if it's a qualified buyer and they're looking at your stuff and they happen to look at it and say, wow, I'm actually one of your neighbors. I love this house. Can I see it? I will be in there monitoring the open house. And you take care of selling all your stuff for $1 and $2. And you do that because that is my worst nightmare. But I will put it all together for you. I will do all the marketing. I will put all your stuff online and create this frenzy of just a bunch of people to come. And then we have an open house at the same time that we're having your estate sale or we're having your garage sale. But that creates a huge buzz, and we're handing out flyers. Okay? That's something I've seen that really, really works in some neighborhoods. And if you're interested in that, reach out to me and we'll do that too. Okay. I've talked about this before, and this was really, really, really blows my mind that so many people don't know it. And I keep on repeating it because it is a big deal. And when we're talking about creative marketing, this is the best one. If you've bought your house for VA with a VA loan or an FHA loan in the last 5 or 10 years, and you're thinking about selling it, you will not believe how many agents don't know this. You can transfer your 3%, 3.5% interest rate to the new buyer. Buyers will go crazy. But a lot of times the seller says, well, yeah, if I sell my house at 3%, even if I get top dollar, I have to go buy a new house. And now it's 7%. Yes, that's true. But if you're thinking about selling, take your money and run. And if you're thinking about going to another market that is not as expensive, then it should all work itself out. And then maybe because of this unique selling proposition of an FHA or VA loan assumable, you may be able to get $20,000 or $30,000, $40,000 more. That offsets your temporary interest rate in Tennessee or in Texas or in Arizona. You can also, and this is what you need to know, you can also maybe, if you need it, get another VA loan. Because you're going to be off of this one. They're going to assume it, and you can get another VA loan or FHA loan, okay? So again, there's a lot of moving parts, but I really, really like that. So if you're thinking about selling your house, even thinking about it, and you're not going to stay in the next 10 years, now is the time to sell. So please reach out to me, and we'll do whatever works. We'll put a bunch of these together, and we will get your house sold for top dollar in a quick, reasonable time. What else do we got? If you've got a special property, you've got one of those backyards that are just amazing, and it's really, really beautiful, and that's what it is. It's an entertainer's backyard, and you got this great barbecue, and you got this beautiful pool and outdoor lighting, and you really want to show it off. And when you're doing these open houses or when people are seeing it, it's during the day. But at nighttime, it's special. Maybe it's a view. We have an evening wine tasting. We have an open house to the public. You bring your neighbors, you bring your friends. You have a party, almost a going-away party, and we invite a bunch of real estate agents. All of a sudden, there's this excitement, and before you know it, you know what the real plan is, JJ?
What's that?
We get everybody drunk, and before you know it, they're bidding on the house, and we have an auction right there, and it's sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars more than it should have.
I like that.
You like that? Yeah, me too. But that's not the way it works. But the idea is we get all these people in there, and sometimes we have music. If it's big enough and it makes sense, we have live music.
Oh, that sounds really cool.
Right? We did that at the famous Cactus House in Woodland Hills, and we had hundreds of people, realtors, and they bring their wives, and then they bring their clients, and they bring their friends, and all of a sudden, everybody's like, "Oh my God, I get it. This house is an entertainer's house." So somebody who loves entertaining is going to come and say, "Now I see the vision. I see why this backyard is worth a little bit more money than the house down the street that doesn't have the pool, doesn't have the lighting, doesn't have the space for it." So that's an evening broker's open house, and we do wine tasting, we have music, we have food, and that's part of the marketing. So we do that too. That's another one. What else do we got? Cash offers. People say, "Oh, you know what? On the station they advertise cash offers in less than 48 hours, 24 hours." We do that too. If you are in a situation where you need to sell quickly, just reach out to me. We'll give you a fair price quickly. You don't have to pay commission sometimes. You just don't want to deal with the open houses. You don't want to deal with all this stuff. You'd just be surprised how many people are just saying, "You know what? Hey, just give me a fair offer and I'm gone." Right? So we do that too. So if you're interested in doing that, reach out to me, and we will get that done for you. And we will evaluate, is it worth it for you to sell quickly, or is there time to do? Sometimes there's no time. We never know what the situation is. I had a friend of mine, or a client of mine, a few years ago in Woodland Hills call me up and say, I want to list a house on Calvert. And I said, "Oh, I know Calvert. What's your address?" "Oh, I know that. I know that street. I know that." He says, this is back a little while ago. "I want to sell it for $550. I said, "I'll buy your house." "What?" "Yeah, I'll buy your house." "Well, you haven't seen it." I said, "I'll be there in 5 minutes. And I went over there and bought his house. We fixed it and flipped it. He just inherited it. Young kid, didn't have the time, didn't have the money, didn't want to do it. He got his price, I got my price, and everybody was happy, right? So those are some creative things to think about. Again, I'm a real estate agent. I'm a working real estate agent. I do this for a living. This is not funded by any company or corporation. This is paid for by myself. So if you are a buyer or seller, and you are enjoying what you are hearing, and you want to continue to hear me, I feel like NPR, right? I'm doing that. I'm doing this.
Oh, this is better than NPR.
Oh, much better than NPR, right? They're asking for money and stuff. And, this is how I fund the show. I take a certain percentage of my sales and I put it towards this show. So please reach out to me if you like what you're hearing. And again, if you are a first responder, we give you 50% off on your listing. We want to help you. We love what you're doing out there. We know you put your life in danger for us to keep us safe. So if you're a first responder, please reach out to me. I don't care where you're at. We will make it work. And I think that's it, JJ. Can you still say God bless you in LA?
Yeah, we're still good.
You can. Well, yep. God bless you, everybody. God bless our troops. God bless the United States. And I really do hope that your real estate is as blessed as mine has been. I hope your home is full of love and peace, and there's a bunch of money in there too. So let's take care of that. So God bless you, everybody. Hopefully we'll talk to you real soon. See you next week.